Shalom. One moment. Let's see the further. All right, Salaki for that. Salaki, it's all pulled up here. Salaki, it's all pulled up here. Cool, cool. So, Shalom as always. First and foremost, I would like to begin this lesson off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, double honor to the apostles, and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught us all this truth and the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and Shakwat. And I'm back here with another lesson, Lord willing, is edifying to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to you sincere, Akim, Wa Akwatim, and a sincere shalom to you brothers that are out here pushing this truth out there on the highways and the byways and through the YouTube lessons, man. Shalom to you all. Lord willing, this lesson will be edifying and exhorting to the elect. So yeah, we're gonna get to it. Daniel 7, just part 3, starting where it begins to speak about Yahweh Shai. All right, so that's where we're gonna go with this. Mm-hmm. the Son of Man presented. This is Daniel 7 and 13, and it reads, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man. Now, who is that talking about? It's talking about Yahweh Shai. All right, he is the Son of Man. So this is furthermore proof that Yahweh Shai has always been mentioned throughout the Old Testament. All right, this is just one of many times that he was mentioned in the Old Testament. This is Yahweh Shai. Came with the clouds of heaven. What are the clouds of heaven? It's talking about the chariots of the Lord, all right, or the chariots of Israel. That's pursuant to 2 Kings, the second chapter. All right, the chariots of Yasharallah. All right, and these are so-called UFOs. I like to say spaceships because that's literally what they are, spaceships. They're ships that operate in space. All right, and that don't just have to mean out, in the, out there past the firmament of the earth. That could also mean in the earth. They're operating in space. So I like to call them spaceships. And it says, and came to the Ancient of Days. Who is the Ancient of Days? It's not Yahweh Shai, because he has a beginning. He has a beginning. And it says, and they brought him near before him. All right. So the Ancient of Days is talking about Yahweh, the Most High. All right. That's the Ancient of Days. All right. So Yahweh Shai was brought to the Ancient of Days. Ultimately, is what it's saying. All right. He's brought before the throne of Yahweh. And it says, and there was given him dominion. All right. So Yahweh Shai was brought to Yahweh. All right. The angels. And in this, and if your spirit can receive this, this is going into the book of Acts, where you go to the point of where Yahweh Shai got beamed up, and the 12 watched him go up, and they were amazed. They were like, "Oh shit!" So that's what it was talking about, and watching him get beamed up into what? A spaceship, a chariot, and then getting taken to the spirit realm. That's where he was brought to Yahweh. All right, and when he got brought to Yahweh, what did Yahweh do? Yahweh gave him dominion and glory and a kingdom. All right, in a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion. All right, everybody gonna serve him, and he's gonna rule forever, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. All right, so when Yahweh Shai gets rulership, he's going to rule forever. Now, before we hit that point, let's just talk about how he was given all power. Right, the Lord gave Yahweh Shai all power, and Yahweh Shai also went into that when you go to the book of Matthew, which is where we're going. Going to Matthew 28 and 18. All right. Why? Where's the red letter? All right. Now, we can start at verse 16, and it says, then the 11 disciples went away to Galilee, into a mountain where Yahweh Shai had appointed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Yahweh Shai came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in earth and in heaven. All power, man. Call Allah, or as they call Superman, call El. All power is given unto me in earth and in heaven. Yahweh Shai was given all power over everything under Yahweh. All right? So you got Yahweh, then you have Yahweh Shai. Under that, Yahweh Shai has power over all. Because Yahweh Shai created all. The only thing he didn't create was himself. Because Yahweh created him. All right, so going back to over here to the point, He gave him all power, and then he also said he was going to have a kingdom that will never be destroyed. When you go to Hebrews 1, I'm going to just show you a little bit of it, but it's like 14 verses, so you could just go read it on your own. When you go to Hebrews, the first chapter, God's final word in his son, all right? When you're reading through Hebrews 1, all right, it speaks about Yahushua being the greatest. It speaks about how Yahweh appointed Yahushua over all things and how he gave him an everlasting kingdom. So we'll go to a specific verse. You should read all of this because it all ties in. Let's just try to go to a specific verse concerning him having an everlasting kingdom. Let's see. Where the verse at? I know I'm probably overlooking it. Hold on 1 second. I'm definitely overlooking it. Hold on. Yeah. We started verse 4. All right, it's fine. We started verse 4. Now, Hebrews 1 and 4, being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. One more time. Being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they, meaning what? A more excellent reputation. He has a higher rep. Now it says, for unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. Now it keeps going. We're getting to it. And again, when he bringeth the first begotten into the world, all right, when he bringeth in the first begotten into the world, and we know this is talking about Yahweh Shai because John 1 and 14, case in point, once again, and plus up here, obviously, and then God's final word, of course. But, it even got here. John 1 and 1 through 4. Yeah. But anyway, when you go to John 1 and 14, it speaks about how Yahweh Shai is the only begotten son, all right, of the Father, showing you he cannot be the Most High. But anyway, he's high, but he ain't the Most High, all right? He's the second highest, all right? But he is the Most High in this universe, though. If you're just talking about our universe, he's the Most High. But when you're talking about everything, Yahweh is the Most High, all right? Yeah, I'll deal with that in a second. He lying on my name. Brother in the chat lied on my name. Not on some serious shit. I'm just, some troll shit. Salakia, I'll deal with that later. Gotta say something back. Put my shit on D&D so I don't see nothing. All right, let's focus. Please forgive me. Now when you continue on, it says, and again, oh yeah, I read this. And let all the angels of God worship him, because Yahweh Shai is the highest. He's above all. All right, under Yahweh. And it says, and of the angels, he saith, who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers a flame of fire. But unto the Son he saith, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. All right. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. All right, so the point is, Yahweh Shai will have an everlasting kingdom. He will have an everlasting ruler, everlasting kingdom. So he was given all power, and he will have an everlasting kingdom that will never wax old. It will never wax old. All right? Ever. Jump down here, it says, they shall perish, but thou remainest, and they all shall wax old as doth a garment, and as a vesture shalt thou fold them up, and thy shall be changed, but thou art the same, and thy years shall not fail. All right, so Yahweh Shai is going to have an everlasting kingdom over his enemies, but to which of the angels said he at any time, sit on my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. Now, this is just going into Yahweh saying, all right, Yahweh Shai, you're going to come up, you're going to sit on my right hand or stand, and until, it's time for you to go put your enemies in subjection and really rule down here on the planet Earth. You understand? So there you go. That's the point. Yahweh Shai's everlasting kingdom. That's what all this is going into. Now it says, the vision interpreted, Daniel was grieved. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me, because he didn't really understand what was going on. And he's going to say something along those lines again in the last verse. All right. Now it says, I came near unto one of them that stood by. All right. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and one more time, I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. And the king just means kingdoms. All right. And it says, but the saints of the Most High. This is one of my favorite scriptures, one of them. But the saints of the Most High. All right. Why is it one of my favorite? Because it goes with my favorite scripture, Jeremiah 16 and 16. That's my favorite scripture out of the whole Bible. Jeremiah 16 and 16. I love that scripture, man. I love that Jeremiah 16 and 16, man. It's my thing right there. It's my favorite, and this goes with it. But the saints, who are the saints? The saints are the Israelites. Now, to be more specific in this, all right, point here in verse 18 is going even deeper than just Israel as a whole. Is going into the elect, and it's going even deeper than just the elect. It's going into the 144,000 mighty men. Salakia. That says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Take the kingdom. It didn't say the saints of the Most High going to ask for the kingdom. Salakia. It didn't say none of that. It says the saints of the Most High are going to take the kingdom. We're going to take the kingdom out of Esau's hand. When you go to Jeremiah 16 and 16, it says, we were fishermen, but then the Lord is going to make us hunters. And then it goes on in that same chapter, like literally in that same verse, and the next verse on, it goes into how we're going to go and we're going to search out for Esau, and we're going to grab that nigga up. We're going to grab their ass up. And that goes with Amos, the 9th chapter. We're going to get you niggas, man. We're going to get you. We're going to get you out of wherever you're hiding from. All right. And what we're going to do, we're going to Psalms 149 your ass. All right. We're going to put you, we're going to bind you with chains and your nobles with fetters of iron. You understand, nigga? So, yeah. We're going to take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Forever. Like, it's never going to end. Like, our rule is never going to end. That's why these fucking heathens, especially Esau, are so fucking mad, man. Because our kingdom will never end. They don't never get a piece of rulership again. They will never get a piece of the pie no more. This is why them niggas are mad. This is why when a fucking Edomite, ain't shit Edomite from times where Jim Crow and all that bullshit was going on, that's why they walk by the highways and the hedges and they see us and they get mad. And sometimes they try to interrupt. Y'all are racist. And nigga, what the fuck was y'all? But if a nigga sagging, a bitch thotting, niggas fighting, bitches fighting, shooting, killing, stealing, robbing, if a nigga doing some witchcraft, some wickedness, the nigga smoking weed, or as the elder Isaiah say, chemical marijuana, if a nigga doing all this bullshit, they ain't got nothing to say. If a nigga in line at McDonald's, a nigga ain't gonna say shit to that nigga. But the moment Jake out there proclaiming the names of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai and who we truly are as a people and turning back to our heritage and saying, hey, starting with Esau, all you fucking heathens going into slavery. And we're gonna rule forever. Then that's where the problem arises. Because no, these niggas ain't being niggas no more. You goddamn right. We are rising. The Lord is lifting us up on the level to expose who the true niggas is. And it's you, Esau. You the true nigga of the planet Earth. You're the actual nigger. You're the Shakawar. It's you, nigga. It's you. Shakawar means nigger in Hebrew. It's you. You're the real nigger. It's you, nigga. Shakawar, nigger. It's you. You've been exposed. 2 Thessalonians 2:8. Isaiah 47. All right, etc. And that says, then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured break in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. All right. Hold on, so let me read that again. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, all right, and of the others which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. All right, and we already know what the 3 was going into. Went into it the first lesson. It wasn't the first, it was the second part. I got 2 other parts on this. We already know Brits, Spaniards, French, and then you got that little horn, which is America. All right, so that horn that had eyes, all right, and a mouth that spake very great things, is talking about America. All right, and it says who look was more stout than his fellows, all right? Stout. What does that word stout go into? Well, it goes into 2 things. And I remember the elder Apostle Gabar was when he made that video on Trump talking about the NATO and shit. He says stout because stout goes into being fat, like literally being fat, like obese, nigga. And he was like, Trump fits both facets of being a stout. He fat and that nigga prideful. That's what stout goes into, being fat and prideful, arrogant. All right. And America's look is more stout than his fellows, man. America is very proud and arrogant when it comes to who's supposed to be their allies. You know, they don't really care for their allies say. They just gonna do what the fuck they want to do when they want to do it, no matter how it affects others. All right, so there you go. That's how America gets down today. Now it says, and I'm not gonna explain too much how. You can just look in the news and see that. Now it says, I beheld in the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. All right. This horn made war with us, man. And the nigga won. And the nigga won, man. America made war with the saints and won. He beat us. You know? He came over. What did he do? He came over. And what did he do when he came over here? First off, when Cristobal Colon came over, he was led by a ship, a spaceship, a chariot. And he even said it. He said it was Elmo's fire, something like that. Talking about a chariot. And he also admitted that how he got over here. These are quick Google searches you could do on your own. Don't be lazy. You got to put the work in too. We have to all be like the Berean church. But I mean, it's really not hard to find information these days, so shouldn't be too time consuming anyway. Just literally at the click of a button, you get all information. But what was I gonna say? He also admitted that he used Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, to make his way over here because that's how he knew there were going to be Israelites over here. All right, because the Second Ezra 13, when the Northern Kingdom, majority of the Northern Kingdom fled over here, all right, after the Assyrian captivity. So he also brought Hebrew-speaking orators. All right, I think they're called orators, but basically somebody who could translate translate between him and the Northern Kingdom that was over here. All right, and what did he do? Well, I ain't gonna get into all that right now, but there you go. That was the start of it. Cristobal Columbus coming over here, fucking with the Latin tribes, which are not the Latin tribes because they're considered Hispanics. And what does that mean? His Spanish, meaning he belongs to the Spaniards. All right, and Cristobal Colon was a Spaniard. All right, he was a conquistador, if you didn't know. All right, and yeah, Khan, bro, the water for putting that up. Let me get this real quick from the comment board. The water, bro. He put up what I was talking about in that Second Ezra 13. So Shalom, bro, Yahweh Shabrakatah. Second Ezra 13 and 41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt. All right, so the Northern Kingdom after the Assyrian captivity, they went to a far country where no man ever dwelt. Now, does that mean no man ever went to this country, this place? No, because men have passed through this land before. Just no man ever stayed and lived there. That's why I said where never mankind dwelt. But men have been there before. We know this because of when you read the Kings. All right, when King Solomon was ruling, all right, he used to send men. You know, he had a navy of men with a lot of Hamites on the, and Hamites and shit. He had a navy of men, and he would send them over to the Americas, all right, to get gold, because this was called the land of Ophir. If you read the Book of Kings, when Yahweh Shai when Yahweh Shai was in rulership, that's the spirit that made me say that, huh? Because Yahweh Shai and King Solomon are the same. Yahweh Shai was King Solomon in his past life, all right, and one of his past lives. And it says, your spirit can receive it, of course. And it says, it was technically it was about I think it was a 3-year journey. Yeah, it was a 3-year journey. All right, it was like a year and a half to get there and a year and a half to get back. So, yeah, there you go, a 3-year journey, man. Now it says that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they somewhat tried to keep the law, statutes, commandments while they were over there, of course, but they failed. They wasn't doing a good job, but they were still speaking Hebrew. They were still speaking some form of Hebrew. So there you go. That's why Cristobal Colon brought a Hebrew orator. Now it says those are the 10 tribes, all right, which were carried away prisoners out of there. In the 10 tribes, some of the Northern Kingdom. And it says 10 because I know, because you have most of the Southern Kingdom stay on the eastern, all right, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. But of that 10, a lot of Levites fled with the Northern Kingdom, which is why you have Levi and Simeon on the same land today. Hence the 10 tribes, because you would think it only say 9 because of that. Now it says, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, or Osea is the saying, but I believe it's really Hosea, if I'm not mistaken. It says, whom Salmanazar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them. Going on, and it says over the waters, and so came they into another land. Now it says that they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held them, it's like it held still the flood till they were passed over. You know, and it's going on and on. The point was really made. Well, you could get this last. I could get this last point too. I guess there's only two more, and this is really a good point here. Ashtoreth or Arsareth, Salakia. Now it says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. So there you go, a year and a half. See, like I said, so a year and a half, and that's how long it took King Solomon's men to get there. A year and a half, and it took them a year and a half to get back. 3 years. So there you go. It was a perfect point. I'm glad the Lord made me read that anyway. And it says in the same region is called Arsareth, which is talking about America. All right, Arsareth. And I forgot what that means exactly. I ain't went into that in a while, man. Let me type that in. Arsareth. As America. Well, let's see. I didn't know that was gonna say that. Let's see what that say. It says Arsareth is a legendary land described in the biblical apocrypha, historically identified by some scholars and explorers, including Columbus, with the Americas. There you go. Hey man, you cannot make this up, man. That's code. That's code. Another land, distant land. All right, I'm just talking about America. All right, if your spirit can receive that. Now let's see what it say if I just put it at Arsareth. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, it's all good though. That's what I needed. Yeah. But anyway, it says in verse 46, then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now they shall begin to come. And they dwelt, and they was here until now. Now they're here. They're still here. We're in the latter time now. They're still here, like prophecy said they would be. All right. Now this is that 1 Kings 10 and 22, which is what I was talking about concerning King Solomon having a navy and sending them over to the Americas. All right. Now it says, for the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram, Salakia, Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, and apes and peacocks. All right. When you read the context of that, you could tell in the spirit this is talking about America. When you read above and below. But as you see, it says once in 3 years, because it was a year and a half journey there and a year and a half journey back. All right, showing you men have been here, been to that land before. They just never stayed and dwelt. In the last scripture, before I gotta go back, this is that Deuteronomy 29 and 28. It says, and the Lord rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. That's beautiful, man, because that was a curse for us, man, to be removed out of our land, all right, and sent elsewhere. And that was really prominent for the northern kingdom at that time also, because if you know, in 2 Kings 17, when the Assyrians were coming down hard on the northern kingdom, one thing that they did do, they were removing the northern kingdom out of the land of Samaria, and they were replacing them with heathens, and they were forced priests, all right, to teach the heathens our ways, so it could be like they're the people now in that land, which is how you get that John the 4th chapter when Yahweh Shai was talking to that whore at the well, or that bitch at the well, however you want to call that bitch, all right. So who thought she was a true Samaritan, a true Israelite, but she was really a heathen, right? So what was I at? Hit the water for them precepts, bro. The water, man. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. So says going on. Where was I at? Um, let's see, where the hell was I at? I read that. So yeah, we can read this again. This is where we were. It says, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. All right, you also have a scripture out of the book of Genesis. Let me go grab that real quick just to show you what, because it even says that literally concerning the Gadites. Let's go to Genesis 49. Where is it at? Right here. Genesis 49 and 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him. Who's the troop? And who are the Gadites, the Native American Indians? It said, a troop shall overcome him. Who are the troops? The heathens. What is lucky? Let me be more exact. The Edomites, man. A troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. He shall overcome at the last. And right now, Gad is overcoming. Why? Because of this truth. All right, because of this truth. That's what it's talking about. Now, up here, what did it say about Reuben when you go up here? Anyway, yeah, Reuben fought too. They had to conquer Reuben too. If you know about the 3 Seminole Wars. All right, those 3 Seminole Wars were Reuben. All right. Did it say anything else concerning Gad? Let me go back and look just to make sure I ain't missed nothing. No, that was just the verse. Okay, that's what I thought. But when you talk about Reuben, Reuben had 3 Seminole Wars. That's where you get the 3 Seminole Wars from, where Esau was fighting against Reuben. You had 3 separate wars, man, and Reuben was kicking that ass. All right. If you don't know, those wars mainly took place down in where's the region that is known as today as Florida. It was down in that region. That was where Reuben mainly was. They were mainly in Florida and things of that sort, right? And Reuben was kicking that ass in the first war. Second war, they was beating that ass, but Esau got the upper hand in that war eventually. And in the third war, Reuben was just dominating Esau, man. They dominated Esau in the third war. So Esau had to, be a serpent, right? A dragon. And he had to siege. He had to siege the Reubenites because they were whooping their ass. So he had to basically cut off their source of food, pretty much. And that's how he won. He eliminated a lot of Reubenites through that. And Reuben ended up fleeing. Most of Reubenites ended up fleeing. You got a lot still in Florida today, but a lot of Reubenites also fled westward, right, further into America. So you got a lot of Reubenites that fled through Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, and into Texas. And also a lot of Reubenites fled into Oklahoma as well. All right, a lot of Reubenites fled to Oklahoma. A lot of them made it to Oklahoma. All right, because they were trying to get as far away as they could after that third war. All right, a lot of them fled into Oklahoma. A lot, like there's a lot of Reubenites in Oklahoma. A hell of a lot. But yeah. So there you go. Just to give you a little history and context on Esau doing that fuckery, and then you already know what he did to the Southern Kingdom. And we already spoke briefly on the Latin tribes too. So you already know what it is, man, with this devil. We ain't got to get into all that, man. If you don't know the history about that today already, I'm not telling you. Nigga, you get it from under the rock. All right. It says, until the ancient of days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Judgment, and we already was going into that earlier, right? Judgment given to the saints, starting with the elect. All right, starting with the elect. Then the Lord said he was going to make us his weapons, his battle axe and weapons of war, and things of that sort. We're going to execute judgment in his name, things as his will, things of that sort, right? And you also got Revelation 21 and 12. You got Matthew 19 and 27 through 30. All All right, the elect, starting with the 144, going to sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel, meaning we're going to have dominion over all. We're going to judge everything, and we're going to be the top of our nation, and we're going to have the rule. Now it says, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth. See, so it's a kingdom. There you go. And we already went into all that. It's the Roman Empire. And it says, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth. And went to how it was diverse. Go watch the other parts if you missed it. And it says, and shall devour the whole earth. All right. We already know how. First off, through his might, through his wizardry with the sword, his military might, and also the main way he would do it is what we went into it. The other parts, his philosophies. He would spread his philosophies all throughout the earth and make the earth drunken, right? And it says, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And it says, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom, or 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And it says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. All right, and that's what this nigga's doing now. Esau is doing that now, mainly America and the small hats, which is what this is getting into. They're doing this right now. All right, they're doing this right now. Okay, this is going into America. If your spirit can receive it, and the small hats. They're doing this right now. I just gotta keep saying that because they doing it, man. All right, they speaking great words against the Most High, which is where you get that 2 Thessalonians 2, that Isaiah 14. This nigga thinks he's above the Lord. All right, he's opposed to everything that is considered godly. And it says, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, all right, which are the Israelites. He's going to wear out the Israelites, all right? And he's doing a damn good job of it. But, hey, bro, we are the elect, Well, Salakia, we're not of the elect. Well, we don't know. We don't know if we are the elect. I hope we are, all right? What I'm trying to say is we're of the hopeful elect, all right? So we members of the hopeful elect, we can't let this nigga wear us out, man. Fuck all that. We can't let this nigga wear us out. He could wear 2/3 out, but this nigga ain't finna wear us out, man. If we at that number, we're gonna keep going and we're gonna keep fighting until the Lord say, hey, the fight's up. Just sit back and watch. All right. Now it says, and think to change times and laws. This is not what this devil's doing. This devil is changing the times. You have all these what they call it, spring forward. I don't know what they call that shit, man. When you get to the winter time, all right, near the winter time, and then we gain an hour, then you get back to the spring and we lose an hour. That shit. He's changing all the times. Now I do know you have a time zone over here in America where that doesn't happen. I think it's the mountain time zone. Yeah, it's the mountain time zone, which is an hour behind me. You got Pacific, which is over there in the West Coast, right? So I am aware of that, right? But he's changing times, right? And it says, and laws. This nigga changing a bunch of legislative right now today. He's doing that right now today, all right? Through many means, especially with that big, beautiful bill and etc. So all rules lead back to America. Now it says, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times in the dividing of times, which is now. It's now. All right? It's now, but we're at the end of that time. And it says, but the judgment shall sit, all right? And they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And that's what's about to take place. The Lord is about to come down and take this nigga's dominion. 2 Ezra 6 and 9. Various other precepts. 2 Ezra the 13th chapter. We were just talking about it earlier, but when you start from verse 1, that's Yahushua coming and taking this bitch. And it says, in the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, starting with the elect, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. All right, this goes like we broke down the Daniel 2 in the last part. All right, this is it. You have these major empires that will rule, and every heathen got a chance to rule. Every single nation got a chance to rule, man. Whether you had a major rulership or a minor rulership, boo-hoo, you got a chance to rule. Now, that was the first Earth Age. Now we're coming into the second Earth Age, which is going to last forever. It will never be an end to the second Earth Age. This is going to be an everlasting rule, whether you like it or not, and this is how the Lord set it up. If you got a problem, well, fuck your problem, nigga, because you can't do shit about it no way. There's nothing you could do about it anyway. You understand? So we're going to read that verse again. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Everybody going to serve and obey us, man. When you go to the book of Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, what does it say? When we're in rulership, all the nations are going to flow unto us, man, asking how to live. How is life supposed to be lived? All right? Everybody going to come to serve and obey us. All nations are going to be put under our foot. And what's the problem with that? You niggas have all done it to us. I don't see the problem. It sounds up just about fair. That's what it sounds. And the brother put up a precept. Yeah, Con, I was thinking about this precept actually. Yeah. That's the spirit, huh? So it says right here. So I'm gonna read that Sirach 10:4 first. It says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, Daniel 4:17. And it says, and in due time, and also, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, Daniel 4:17. Right? Shalom, bro. Yahweh Shem Shabrakatah. All right, Daniel 4:17. Then you also got in the book of Proverbs where it says the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. Right? So there you go. Yep. Yahweh Shem Shabrakatah. The water for all your precepts, beloved. Now it says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. Right? In due time, and that time is here, very soon. All right, in this lifetime. Now it says in verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, which is talking about who? This devil, he did that. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. So it's going to be translated from Esau to Jacob. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Case in point. Now it says, hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations, meaning his mind, all right, his mind, much troubled me, all right, and my countenance changed in me. But I kept the matter in my heart. So he was troubled because he's like, I don't get it. Like, he didn't get what it meant, but we do today. Was it meant for Daniel to get it at that time? It was meant for us to get it today. All right, so that's Daniel 7. We finished it. Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. As always, I'm going to close giving all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rachak Wadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who've taught us all this truth, and the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And until next time, Abba Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, Gadol Abadim, Lababal, Gadol, Yahweh Mahar, Wa Thumb. And until next time, man, keep enduring, keep pushing, keep the faith. Shit hard, but it's fair. We almost out. Shalom. What do y'all